All right, let's go over what we've got here as far as the insulation detail, as we've got the roof right here. So basically all the roof decking is down here. The sidewall is over here. And actually we've got another 1/2 inch of sheathing there. So right now, as you see the house, we've got our WRB, which is right on the outside of this. So this is our Polyguard, goes all the way down the wall, and on the roof, we have Benjamin Ondyke and basically a membrane there as well that goes up the wall a little bit. So what I'm working on here is a detail for the insulation that goes on the roof, and also how do we put the counterflashing in, flashing, and the roofing in. So for my insulation, guys, what we're going to do is take from the roof decking, which is right here, all the way to up there. This is around 12 inches. So the Powerwool comes in 2x24. We're going to rip those down with a table saw right at 12 inches. So when none of this is on right now. So install this just the way we're installing the rest of the insulation. And what we're going to do, I've got some blue here. So this is the Polyguard. What we're going to use is the trim seal, the same stuff that we used on the foundation. Come down 1 inch on this cut, over 2 inches. I believe it's 7 inches total, and we're going to come down 4 inches. So what this is going to do is any water, if it makes it past this insulation, which is not, because this stuff is hydrophobic, and I'm not worried about any water getting into this assembly. If it does, I've got a WRB back here. But again, if water does get into this, what we're trying to do is create a scenario where it comes down and out. So we're going to put the trim seal on that. Let's take a look at the roof and all the flashing. So imagine this is a standing seam. I'm not going to really try and draw the roofing, but the roofing is going directly on top of this decking. So this is 1/2 inch decking, and it goes right on top of the insulation. So we have 4 inches of Powerwool insulation, 1/2 inch of decking. Over here, we have 2 inches of Powerwool insulation on the walls on top of 1/2 inch sheathing. So what I want to do is create a scenario where I can flash this properly, but also design it for future generations if they ever want to replace this roof, say 50 years from now. So whenever I'm doing a flashing situation or scenario, I like to design the flashing into a counter flashing. So just for argument's sake, let's say that this flashing, whatever flashing goes on top of the roof, is probably going to go up at least 4 inches, and I'll just come out 4 inches. So I'm not really sure what this detail here is going to look like. It depends. We do have a metal roofing drawn, but it comes out 4 inches, up 4 inches. So if that's the case, I still have 4 inches up here to play with. And whenever I design this, I like to have what's called counter flashing. Some people call it receiver flashing. So this piece right here is the sidewall flashing. So for the counter flashing, what we do is come up. It's got a slight bend in it. So let's just say it's using 4 inches of flashing, and it's got a little break in it right there. So you can either do a 45-degree angle, you could do 90, come over 1/2 inch, go up, come over 1/4 inch. But really what you're trying to do is have it where if this piece right here ever has to be replaced in the future, they can easily get that out, put a new piece in, and water can still come down and out. But you've noticed that we've got the Polyguard. It was already installed with this right here. So what we're going to do is take a piece of the Polyguard. We'll probably just use a 4 inch or 2 inch and just cover up on top of the counter flashings, because once this counter flashing is installed, this isn't coming off. And then we've got tape to tape right there. We've got tape to metal. Again, we've got a good barrier. So now if the water comes down, it's going to come down this part, going to hit, if it gets behind here, which is not going to get behind here, but if it does, it's going to find this flashing, which we're making out of tape. So it's thermally broken. We don't, if we're using some sort of, I know people in the comments will be like, why didn't you use metal right here? Well, if you put metal right here, you've got a thermal break, and essentially 1 inch, you know, if you're looking at an infrared camera, it's going to show that all this right here is basically a hole in the sheeting. So since this is tape, it's not a metal tape, this is considered continuous. There's not a thermal break right here. So we're going to tape this on top of the counterflashing, and then this assembly right here is pretty much set as far as the insulation and this flashing. But we're not going to install this counterflashing until after the roofing's in place. So the only thing we're doing right now is installing the wall insulation, and then we're putting this flashing right here only so we have something to tape to. So after that, there's going to be several different layers that go on top of this. So on top of the counterflashing, we're going to use Cor-A-Vent, and Cor-A-Vent is going to allow the siding to dry out. So we're using the Cor-A-Vent CV5, and basically that is a 3/4 inch ventilation. So the reason we're using the CV5 is that is the same thickness as the furring strips. So the furring strips, we'll draw the furring strips in red. And the furring strips are just basically going to go all the way up the wall. Now when we get to the top up there, right before we hit the eaves, we're going to have another piece of Cor-A-Vent. And the reason is, once we have the siding put on here, we want air to be able to come in and dry any of this out. So the key to all these assemblies, we know water is going to get in. If there's bulk water coming in, we want to be able to hit this flashing and come out. Now, if there's just water vapor, this Cor-A-Vent is going to allow us to have ventilation from the top to the bottom. So there's air circulating in there. And then that's going to allow it to dry out. So how does that work with the actual siding itself? So let's draw the siding in green. So we're using Nichiha, and it's going to be a lap siding, but it's made to look like the shingles. So it's their cedar shake shingles, but it's going to look like lap siding. So we're going to have like a little piece just to get it started. And then what happens is you've got so any water and any moisture that gets in here, you've got the air can come up through the Cor-A-Vent, come out the top, and you've got basically a nice air loop right there. So that can dry out. If for any reason, say someone's playing baseball or something happens and you've got a hole that comes in the roof and it somehow makes it all the way back to this layer right here, which is the Polyguard. If it comes down the wall, it's going to find this flashing. It's going to come out. That flashing, it's going to see this tape. It's going to go over that tape. Then it's going to go over. It's going to go over our receiver channel or our counter flashing. It's going to come out. It's going to see this flashing right here, and it's going to find the roof. So really, what this is, I've got two different things going on here. One, any water that's coming down the assembly is going to find its way out. If it goes into the wall, same thing with the roof. We've got some of the same similar principles in this. We want to direct all the water to the roofing because the roofing is what's designed to handle bulk water. Siding is not. It's meant to shed water, and it's meant to shed water to the roofing. Now, we know water vapor gets into these assemblies. So if water vapor does get in, we've got the Cor-A-Vent. We've got these convective loops going around up in between the furring strips up to the Cor-A-Vent and out. And the reason we use Cor-A-Vent right there versus just using just a regular piece of blocking for that first strip is it allows the air in, but also it's got a screen on it. It's a bug screen that doesn't allow the bugs to get in there. So this is to scale. It's 1-to-1. I'll share this with my guys. So basically what you guys need to know is from the top of the roof decking to right there, cut it at 12 inches, use that 7-inch tape that we already have on the job site. We can put that right there, and the rest of these layers will go on top of it at a later date. And then once we have this in place, you can go ahead and put the rest of the insulation above that and finish all the wall insulation. So hope this guide was helpful. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And Chris and I will be talking more about this detail as it's going in.